Well, thank you so much for joining us for Meet Me in the Penthouse. And today we want to talk about your morning routine and why this matters. And this is Molly speaking. And from personal experience, I am someone since graduate school that got up early. I was married young. I was 22 when I got married and still married to the love of my life. But I quickly realized if we were going to spend any time together and me studying all the time, I needed to get up early. So I have been an early riser, followed in the footsteps of my mother. It used to be 6 a.m. and then it moved to 5. And I thought, I am never going to get up with a number with a 4 in it. And
now
I
with
did.
menopause, it's 3.
For you, not for me. But yes, and then you get to go through this lovely shift. And Amy finds herself up at 3 a.m. Thank you, Jesus, that I can still sleep. But I think, I was always someone that immediately got up and worked out. That's just what successful people do. And I wanted to do what successful people did. So I got up early. I got up before it interfered with my family's plans. Yes. When I was training for that first marathon and my husband was traveling a ton, I did spend the night at my sister's so I could get up early. And
really her ulterior motive was that I could watch her kids.
And that's what we did. That's what successful people did. And thank God Amy was there to help out. And I think the biggest thing is the shift that especially we've had, really, you weren't, you stumbled upon it far sooner than I did, but really getting your mindset in place before anything else, honestly.
Yes. And we saw, like she mentioned, she says her mom. It is our mom.
It is. She's not adopted. When you see us, you're like, yes, they do look like twins.
We saw our mom get up and she always did it in reverse order. I have to say, when we were growing up, she got up at 4:30 and ran the miles and then tried to work in. And we always saw her doing her journaling and her mindset. But we had no idea. And that was perfectly fine. And that was a great model for us. But truly what we have found in this later season of life, not later, we're mid.
We're going to be centurions. So
yes, so we're midlife. In this midlife is that to calm our nervous system and to truly get into the right mindset. And as we call it, the penthouse, right?
Yeah.
The penthouse frequency, you have to start with your doing that inner work and doing the quiet mindset work prior to running the 15 miles and the Pilates and all of the Orange Theory, all of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think, and again, it's not good or bad. So I think don't come from a place of judgment of, how am I going to fit it in? And I always picture 30-year-old me, what would I have said then when I had to be in the clinic at 7 a.m. to treat patients? Would I have been able to do this all because I was already getting up at 4:30? But I think now knowing what I know, it truly is the most important time of your day. And like Amy said, we did see our mom. And in fact, I remember we were in the Chicago airport and she lost her gratitude journal and how devastating that was. And this is probably 25, 30,
late 80s.
Yes, late 80s. I mean, a long, long time ago. So she was doing this, like Amy said, long before we even knew what she was doing. But I love getting up in a much calmer way. Amy and I have the ability, she gets up without an alarm. I still need an alarm. I always have. But we are both upright, and we say that. We are both upright within 0.29 seconds. We really are. We are not snoozers. We are not lay in bed people. We are not, again, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Keep in mind, we were raised by a woman who napping was lazy. So we do not nap well. We do not sleep well.
No, but we're like upright, ready to go and ready to get on with our day. So this is definitely a new shift. We call it our miracle morning. We do teach this. When you're listening to this, we teach this for free every Wednesday morning at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, that being said, we do have people on Pacific time. Yes, at 3:30 in the morning, we do have people Mountain Standard Time that hop on. We have East Coast time that's like, woo, they're sleeping in. They're joining us at 6:30. But there's definitely, I want to say a ritual versus a routine. A routine sounds so rehearsed and I don't know,
Yes. And it's definitely just that heart led, right? When Molly and I both get up, we both say, because we learned this from our mom and dad, how can we bless? Who can we bless today? Use me today. We both believe in God. So we say, God, use me today. And so that is what we do prior to hopping on our Zoom call, where we've had, for a long time, we had 90 to 100 people on that morning call. Everybody starting in that same, just that peaceful. It was dark out. They didn't have all their lights on. Some didn't have their cameras on, but it was that reset of that nervous system instead of just getting right out the door.
So I am going to say, I'm going to start at the very beginning, because I do have a new ritual, and Amy didn't realize she, of course, owned it, but she doesn't need an alarm clock. So if you're like me and you need an alarm clock, that little, I got even the Amazon dupe, but the Nest, where it's just soft light. So this morning at 5 a.m.
Oh, I have that. I just don't use it.
I know you don't use it.
I didn't buy the dupe, though. I bought the real deal, because I buy the real deal.
Yeah, she bought the real deal and then doesn't even use it. Didn't even know she had it till I'm like, you got to see this thing that I got, because I didn't like the Nest. It's quite ugly. But I love the dupe that I got, because it's very attractive. But it's like the light is shining on your face at 5 a.m. It's just such a lovely way to wake up, versus even if you have a babbling brook or birds tweeting or whatever, just that light shining is just a great way to set the tone for the day. And here's the cool thing about this really awesome alarm clock is you turn the light off because you're like, oh, there's just this soft light. It's shining in. You think you're on a beach somewhere. You think it's somewhere magical. And so you just tap it and it goes away. And then in 9 minutes, the babbling brook, the birds, the ocean waves, whatever sound you choose, then wakes
so
you
your
up.
Snooze is 9 minutes, and then you get a babbling brook.
I
for
wouldn't
the wake
even
up.
say a snooze. Sometimes you're just awake with the soft light.
Oh, that's
But if
nice.
you choose to tap the light in your drowsy state, you're being awakened. And I know I just said I don't ever hit snooze on alarm clock because I hate that. Like my husband will do it.
I don't know how she knows
times
this,
over. So once or twice it has happened where it gets to that little babbling brook or whatever sound you pick. But I'm just saying, for the sake of all of you that get up with an alarm clock, definitely I recommend this way of waking up. It's so, so lovely. And then just sitting there for a minute or however long. If you lay there, you may just fall right back asleep. So just prop yourself up. We call it a sitting space, just a sitting space. You don't want to turn on any bright lights when you get up first thing in the morning. This is so important. Don't turn on any bright lights. Just sit in the space and hold space there for a minute, for however long, and just think about all the downloads that are coming in and what's on your mind today. What are you thinking about? What's going through your head?
Say, set the intention. Like, what do you want what do you want your day, like visualize your day as it miraculously unfolds and all of the miracles that you're going to do.
Yeah. So we just call it a sitting space. And that's really powerful, just to start your day that way. And then we, as a community, one thing that we do now, if you're alone, this is a lovely way, when you're done with that, like setting the intention for a minute or two, or however long it takes you. Maybe you sit there for 10 minutes, but this isn't the visualization part. This is just the setting the intention. What are the things that are being downloaded today? And let's be honest, maybe it's stress, maybe it's worry. And then that's where we move into a meditation. So, somebody that we love to follow is Dr. Joe Dispenza. We love a lot of his meditations. We do a lovely 21-minute guided meditation. We actually had someone on our podcast she was a successful trial attorney, and she hired a meditation coach. That would be something I would do. I'd be I don't get how to do this. How do I lay there? I'm always somebody that bolted out of yoga. I never stayed for Shavasana. I was like, why do I need to lay there? What is this all about?
And again, I think that's what high achieving women who, most of you who are listening to this that's what we're just wired to do, right? We don't have time to sit and in quiet and notice your breath. Mm-hmm. That is so foreign to us because we were raised to get up and grind and hustle and then fall back into bed at night and see how much or little sleep you can get because busyness is a badge of honor. And so, honoring your body in the morning by doing this. And I will tell you, I love now that it is so common to hear men and women, very successful men and women, talk about breath work, talk about their miracle morning routine, and hiring the breath work coach, and getting quiet, and how it is hard for someone who's wired to go. That it was really, really hard for me to sit and not focus on, my day, or what wasn't going wrong, or what happened, or what call I didn't make, or what I said that maybe didn't come out the way I wanted it to, whatever, right? That the replaying of the previous day or whatnot. It is really challenging to really focus on nothing but your breath. But it is so impactful.
It is. And there's so many great guided meditations out there. We are not like meditation experts, but I would say really, really successful people do meditate. So if you're blessed and you have a meditation room, lovely. I love that. I love that for you. But you can meditate anywhere, and it's just slowing down. It could be guided. It could absolutely be just you listening. We love to listen to frequency. So it can be the frequency of money. It can be the frequency of worship. It can be the frequency of love and abundance. There's all kinds. You can Google it, and you can find those frequencies in hertz, which is what you hear, and you can play it on Spotify. You could just meditate to a wealth frequency if that's what you want to do. I mean, we do all kinds of different meditations every Wednesday morning, but camera on or camera off, it's just a beautiful way after you have set the intention, you yourself, and before you head over to your laptop to join the rest of the world. It's a powerful way to start. And then we love meditation because that's listening to God, and prayer is talking to God. So just taking the time to listen and control your thoughts, right? They start to wander, you bring them back. That's the nice thing about a guided meditation. It brings you back. And I love back to Kristen and the attorney who hired a meditation coach. She had to hire a coach for, 8-10 sessions to teach her how to sit still. And first it was 5 minutes, then it was 10 minutes. And I had a friend, we were actually in Vegas this weekend, and I think of meditation, I think, oh, it's so easy to meditate on, if you're on vacation and you're by an ocean. But she meditated for 3 hours in her hotel room in Vegas. I'm like, that is impressive. Like that in a city that to me doesn't feel very grounded and pretty chaotic and 24/7 movement. I'm like, that's my goal. Like I want to be able to meditate for that kind of length. And so start where you can start. But again, we love starting with some type of guided meditation, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And that's really how we start our day.
And then we move on to gratitude. Gratitude puts us in the penthouse frequency, right? Gratitude is the highest form of energy. It is. Molly and I get told all the time that we have really, really great energy. Our parents do too, as we mentioned. But it's because we wake up and we live in gratitude every single day for the smallest things. And that is reflected on the relationships we have, on the success that we've had in business, on just who we stumble upon when we travel. We love to travel because we meet so many people, because we're in the penthouse frequency, because every time I get on an airplane or travel, I always am saying in the background of my mind, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful I get to travel. I'm so grateful I get to meet people. That is like what is constantly playing. Even now, I'm like, I'm so grateful that we're at Hurrdat. I'm so grateful. So we start with gratitude. We guide our participants to write down in their journal what they're grateful for, the biggest and the small. We also have them write down the 3 people that they're praying for. So after the guided meditation, we work through gratitude for about 7 to 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then we have just a small little download to share on just some advice on what for them to kind of set their intention for the day. And this is what downloaded to us. Today we talked about just being the light for others, and knowing that people need to be seen and heard. And so just Molly always says, head up, heart out. So making sure that you meet people eye to eye and say good morning to them. It's amazing how many people don't.
Well, because we all look at our phones so much, and that's something that a friend taught me. Head up, heart open. It's like, oh my gosh, that would be like when you look up, especially on college campuses, you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's shuffling around looking at their phones, like eyes up, heart open, eyes up, heart open. That means you're not looking down at your phone. But back to gratitude. And this is something for those of us that definitely work heavy in our masculine, and this is for another podcast for sure, but gratitude opens you up to receive. And that's exactly what Amy was saying, is when you live in that frequency of abundance, of grateful for, first we always say, start with the smallest thing, even if it's the pencil you're writing with. Like if you were homeless, like what would that thing that is you are so appreciative of? And I think how often I take for granted even the vehicle I drive, right? And I'm like, this morning, I was like, I am so grateful that I always have a car that runs. I am so grateful that I went through everything in my car, and just the overwhelming gratitude that you have at that. And like Amy said, that puts you in penthouse frequency. And it's not like you're doing gratitude to get in the penthouse, but when you live in that way, it just becomes second nature. It's in your wheelhouse. So when people say everything you do turns to gold, or you girls are always so lucky, I'm like, luck has nothing to do with it at all. It's truly what I'm envisioning all the time, how grateful I am. And so we love to really think about the 3 people you're praying for, and writing gratitude big and small. And here's the other thing with gratitude that I love that we do is we want you to talk about some things yesterday, specific things, but then grateful for the things that are coming. And I love that, because I'm going to be honest, I said 1 million downloads and that we would be picked up by a podcasting studio. I said that for 18 months before we ever.
You manifested it.
Ever. Yes. I mean, absolutely. And so that came during my gratitude practice. I didn't know how to measure 1 million downloads. I still don't know. I didn't know how we were going to be found or picked up or, anything like that. And so that you guys, this is proof. Hurrdat found us. I mean, we're so grateful. And that came because I was already having gratitude, living in the feeling of gratitude.
Of the wish fulfilled.
Exactly. Yeah. Like knowing, and if somebody would have been logical and said, well, how do you know you're going to have 1 million? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how to measure that.
We do in our
but
minds.
We do. But I keep writing it every morning.
We will.
Something else that we do, that Amy and I do also, we have adult kids. And so I always say, like, Sophie is thriving in her career, surrounded by I picture this, like surrounded by a community, living in a community in a city she adores, surrounded by a community of people that just are exceptional and thriving and growing. And so when you write about that, with your kids or with your spouse, I write about that, and Amy does this with her spouse. And I love this too, of, what do you always say? It's just so cute.
I don't know.
About Bill. You say it all the time.
That he's the kindest human being I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
but also you say something like, it's just so sweet. Like how madly in love.
I am madly in love with my life.
Yes.
I am madly in love with
my life and my husband. Yeah. And when you speak that, no wonder you find yourself madly in love with your spouse in your life. And so I love that gratitude, just to really hone in on that, like grateful for the little things, grateful for the small things, grateful for the specific things that happened yesterday, but then grateful for the things that are coming. Because the way you vibrate is going to attract, put you in that frequency, and then frequency determines what you attract. And so, yes, do we attract great things? Yes, but it's because we're already grateful before it's even done.
Well, and to be clear, there's a lot before I walked in here, I had a couple of really hard things happen, and I switched them to gratitude. So it's not like things don't happen. They just don't knock me off my course. They don't set me back. They don't cause me. Probably the biggest thing is they don't cause an internal gut
stomach
punch
ache,
or for anxiety, as some people may experience it. When you live in gratitude, of course challenges are going to happen. Of course, they just don't knock you off course. They don't cause you to have a panic attack. They don't cause you to have to take some medication or whatnot. It allows you to say, well, shoot, that's really disappointing. But here's what I have going on. That's really disappointing. And so that's the biggest thing I think with gratitude, and even with the Penthouse mindset. Of course, people, you have setbacks, you have challenges. There are things that can knock you off. There's things that wake me up at 3 a.m, but I put it in a meditation, a gratitude meditation, and I'm back to sleep in about 3 minutes. Or else I get up and start journaling about it, as the case is during menopause.
Or sometimes texting her sister. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Now that I know you can schedule text, I stop text. I can schedule my text when I'm up at 3 and not wake up everybody.
But I think that's just also really good for all of you to know that we are human, and there is hard stuff. And I know Amy's going through a really challenging time right now, but it's not occupying every thought, and the people that when you're like, how are you doing? And they're like, you're like, oh my goodness. Like, you're only going to attract,
Well, and I would never mention, you mentioned it, but I would never give it, I'm not going to give any power to this huge challenge that would set anybody else back. I refuse to give up my power. I get to decide if I'm going to give up my power to that individual, and hell no, I'm not going to give it up to that individual. And that is that's what living in the penthouse is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in case you don't understand gratitude, you probably will by now. But I just think you could almost do an entire episode. You could do so many weeks on gratitude, because it truly is the best way to live. And then we love affirmations. And I think a great story about affirmations is, and I'm hearing everybody doing affirmations on their vibration plate. Now, I do love that our adult daughter.
Neither one of us have vibration plates.
Well, my adult daughter does, and I see that
on your credit card.
Yes, on my credit card. So apparently, she is vibrating and saying her affirmations, and so. But I learned that this weekend is what a lot of women are doing, is saying their affirmations while vibrating. So we don't do a vibration plate in our Miracle Morning.
You're welcome to, I guess.
You could absolutely add that in. We are all about trends, and so we will be hopping on that trend here. But I think the most powerful things about affirmations is they need to be yours. So I am, whatever follows I am, is truth. And think about that. Like, anytime you're like, I am such a loser, Amy and I really, really are aware of those thoughts, those obtrusive thoughts that it's like, no, why would I, a perfect one is, I am sick. I am so sick. And I know even my husband laughs at this, but people even that are like, oh, I don't want to get sick. I'm worried to fly because I don't want to get sick. And it's like, well, you're attracting
that. You don't want it, don't say it.
Right.
Don't think it.
Exactly. Yeah. Simplest things. If you don't want it, don't say it. So I am, but then have it be, a powerful I am statement. And we love these affirmations. We typically do them when you're after you're in the feeling of living in the penthouse, after a meditation, doing some affirmations, after your gratitude, doing some affirmations, but they are powerful. And I know that I used to do affirmations all the time, but I said it as a routine. I didn't do it as a ritual. I didn't do it as things that were so important to me. They were ones I read about in a book. And so I copied them. I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I am. But make them yours. And I know there's some great affirmations out there. Our friend, you probably can tell the story of what happened this weekend. And I love this.
Oh, that was
the elevator.
As we were in Las Vegas and with a group of women that we are in business with. And the door opened, the elevator was full. And one of our very favorite people she was behind the door, right, hopping into the elevator, and she's like, oh my gosh, Amy and Molly, you're exactly who I needed to see. She had woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with not enoughness. My hair, I'm not enough. I shouldn't be walking across the stage. I didn't pay someone to do my hair. My outfit's not good enough. Not enough. She said she put a meditation in that we had sent, we had done on one of our Miracle Mornings, but she was still defeated, and that self-talk was still playing in the back of her mind as she was hopping on the elevator. And when she saw us and we were like, Laura, oh my gosh, good morning. She's like, you're exactly who I needed to see. So again, your frequency, your energy, the penthouse.
Yes.
I mean, we were tired because we'd been traveling all day, and trust me, there's a lot of gorgeous women there, and there could have been some not enoughness, but I always tell myself, like, I'm madly in love with myself finally at 53.
Yes.
I mean, that took a lot. So
a powerful I am statement right there, friends.
Yes, I'm madly in love with myself. I'm madly in love with my life. And that is powerful to be able to say to yourself. And that's what I say when I'm walking down in a small, my outfit's not good enough or my hair's not styled enough, is I am madly in love with my life. I am so grateful. And
I am literally looking at you laughing because I'm like, oh my Lord, I borrow half your clothes and your hair is always perfect. But
for blowouts twice a week.
Yes, she doesn't do her own hair. But I love that. I am madly in love with my life. I am madly in love with who I am. Like, dang, if that's not powerful, like who's not ready then to go get their workout on? And so this morning we did something a little different and we read, it was really powerful.
I promised myself.
Yes.
I promised myself. I promised myself to be kind to myself, to be kind to others, to notice others.
We should attach that in the show notes, actually.
Oh, yes.
It's so powerful. It is so good. And I had so many people tag us on social media saying, thank you for that. We often do something to our coaching, our Sisters Next Door coaching. We have a self-confidence formula and we say that over and over, or we repeat it aloud as a group. And then, like Amy said, we have a little teaching moment. But if you were at home, you might read from something. I'm really loving The Pivot Year by Brianna Wiest. That's great. It's just a short thing. Maybe this is where you do a devotion. Maybe this is where you do some prayer, some time in prayer. And then as a group, we always wrap up with just a song that is about receiving and is about like your higher self and your most complete version. So it's a 45-minute. I'm saying a lot. So Dylan, hopefully
our mother
would be horrified.
Teacher.
Oh my goodness! As a speech teacher, she would be like, "What's with all the ums?" But I mean, we can leave them in too. But
it's authentic. Authenticity.
It is authentic. But 45 minutes, the old me, the grind and hustle and, work until you're exhausted.
You would have been
I would have been like, this is a waste of time.
I could have run 8 miles in 45 minutes.
I mean, I'm not getting anything out of this. Oh my gosh. Like you're like looking for the result immediately. I'm not getting any faster, not running. So, but I would say that this is the most powerful way to start your day. And if you have to condense that, like, there are some mornings where I get up at Wednesday as a group, 45 minutes. Sometimes I do spend an hour. I'm thinking of my 30-year-old, our 30-year-old listeners, our 20-year-old listeners, maybe someone that does have, 4 kids, their husband's deployed and they've got to go off and teach school. Then maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's just 5 minutes, broken up into little sections of just 2 minutes of visualizing what you absolutely want, getting that feeling, and then 3 minutes of gratitude or whatever. But even 5 minutes.
Starting small.
If that's all you have. To you young moms out there, the biggest thing I would say is wake up before your kids. It's so important to invest in you. How can you be madly in love with yourself if you're getting torn out of bed, if you're waking up, if you spilled coffee on your lap, all those things, if you're not getting up and setting an intention and being grateful for everything, it's no wonder.
And I also think that chaos, when you're waking up in chaos, that is what you're going to attract.
Yes.
When you're leaving the house in chaos, when you're screaming at the kids to get out the door, that is what you're going to get.
And that was me.
Chaos attracts chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. It was chaotic getting to work at 7 a.m. My kids were half the time in their pajamas. I had to have daycare dress them, all the things. Like, it was like, what a chaotic way to begin. So even for those of you that are like, I don't have that kind of time, Molly and Amy, 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. You will be so grateful you did. And I think the biggest thing is we have a knowing journal that's coming out, and it is so incredible. In fact, when you're listening to this, it's probably already launched, but it is a guided journal that takes you through your goals, your intention. You're going to journal your gratitude.
It is a reminder that you already know. You have an intuition. It is intuition. It is. I'm thinking of college tuition for my son. I only have 1 more month. Praise God.
Ooh. Almost at the end.
10 years of college tuition. Anyway, your intuition, you already know. So our journal is reminding you what you already know. that you have that inner knowing, and you need to use your voice and trust your intuition.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Meet Me in the Penthouse. And we would love to have you follow us at www.sistersnextdoor.com.
Anywhere that you listen to your podcast, please feel free to give us 5 stars, because we know you're going to find us fabulous, and pass this along to any friends that you know would enjoy this episode.